What do we got? What do we got today? New research suggests that intermittent fasting may improve gut diversity. Whoa, hold up. You mean to tell me that a strategic fasting protocol can bring more gut bugs to the intestinal party? Yeah, seems to be the case. And we're talking about the same gut bugs that survive and thrive off of a nutrient-dense, fiber-rich diet? Yeah. And the same microdiversity that's been associated with health and longevity? That's the one. Damn, that shit crazy. Well, I mean, technically, it's diverse. I'll show myself the... Yo, what is up? Welcome back to another week of How to Health. My name is Kevin. I run liftandbalance.com, where we take aim at all things health and do it in an odd, weird, interesting, and highly sarcastic manner. Today, we are talking about a few of my favorite things. Fasting, longevity, and a couple trillion of our closest friends. No, not you, production team. There's only like 5 of you, but our gut microbes. Because we have some new research on the docket. Some very interesting human research looking into how a 5-day fasting mimetic protocol alters a few known gene, microbiome, and cellular longevity biomarkers, seeking to tease out if there is any translation whatsoever from the mounting animal research on the topic over to us humans. Yeah, I know. You're gonna wanna grab your home popped organic popcorn for this one. No, production team, after the show, after. So in the next 11 minutes and negative 11 seconds, we will walk through how a 5-day fasting mimetic protocol impacts the following longevity markers: our microbiome diversity, Sirt and FOXO gene transcription factors, mitochondrial function, along with a few other age-related pathways. And just to level set, when we talk longevity, we aren't necessarily talking about life extension. Although it's a component, the main goal that we talk about here is health span extension, or extending those truly healthy years of life. You know, those years that you can do everything you wish, hope, desire with zero limitations whatsoever. And guess what? When we extend those healthy years of life, we typically delay and shorten the diseased ones. Funny how it works like that, right? So the data that we will be reviewing today highlights how a strategic fasting protocol may be able to upregulate a few pathways that do just that. Pretty cool, I know. So let's nerd out. The background. In the research that we have to date in both human and animal models, we've seen that a strategic fasting protocol may be one of the best tools we have in the longevity toolbox, with research suggesting that it upregulates many cellular and metabolic pathways that are advantageous for both lifespan and health span, many of which we cover in the 50+ videos on the Fasting 101 playlist on this channel. But its benefits doesn't simply stop with our self. It has shown to play a substantial role in regulating our quasi-self as well, aka those trillions of microorganisms that live in and on us but aren't quite us. As research continues to suggest several potential benefits of fasting on gut health, including things such as decreased intestinal inflammation, increased activation of intestinal stem cells, and even expansion of protective gut bacteria. In fact, we've actually covered a lot of this research in depth, which you can check out here and link below. Now, this new clinical trial from the University of Vienna adds some sugar and spice into the mix, as it identifies some super interesting and specific changes fasting may induce in the gut microbial makeup, longevity-related genes, as well as several key signaling proteins, all in humans. So, side note, since I know production team takes everything in like the literal sense, no added sugar, okay? It was a figure of speech. Spice, on the other hand, go off. Not now, later, production team. So let's talk about this study's main objectives. The objectives. So this study sought to tease out the effects of fasting on the gut microbiota and its impact on the epigenetic regulation of metabolically relevant enzymes in a particular family of enzymes called sirtuins, which we actually cover in depth here. And essentially, these are a family of enzymes that are associated with key metabolic and cellular functions such as DNA repair, cellular survival, metabolism, lipid and glucose homeostasis, stress resistance, and insulin secretion. And along with all that, researchers also dove into identifying how fasting impacts the health and prosperity of our oh-so-critical energy-producing organelles in each and every one of our cells, our mitochondria. So before we get into what happened, let's review the key information around how the study was structured. The protocol. This first of its kind clinical trial consisted of 51 participants, a mix of both male and female subjects that were designated to either a fasting group or a control group. The fasting group underwent 5 consecutive days of fasting following a fasting mimetic protocol. And fasting mimetic protocols, which we've covered in depth in a couple of other videos on this channel, which I'll all link below, is essentially when you consume very low amount of calories from very specific food sources each day and trick your body into thinking it's fasting without actually really fasting. Thus, the mimetic. For this study, the energy consumption included a daily intake of organic fruit juice at noon and soup in the evening, averaging about 200 to 250 daily calories. This was also accompanied by physical activity in an environment that promotes calmness and mindfulness, because we all know how important that stress management thing is, right? Blood and stool samples were collected from the participants before and after the intervention, and the data was analyzed. The numbers were crunched. So what the hell happened? The results. Let's go one by one here. First, with the few trillion of our closest friends. Our microbes. We know from all the other microbiome research to date that having a good diversity of microbes in our intestinal tubing is typically good for biological business. But it's not only for digestive health, it actually has an impact on our day-to-day mood, feel, cognition, energy, and overall systemic biological function. So what happened to these little guys when they were restricted energy during this fasting mimetic protocol? Well, first off, the control group showed no intestinal changes in their microbiotic composition. Not a shocker. However, the fasting group showed changes in microbial composition as well as an expansion of diversity. To get a little granular, at the species level, there was strong, statistically significant changes in microbiotic composition after the fasting intervention, with multiple species impacted in a positive direction. Very interestingly, there was a positive correlation between an abundance of a family of gut bugs called Tenericutes and an increase in the amount of butyrate produced. And if you're not familiar with butyrate, it is a short-chain fatty acid that is known for its anti-inflammatory effects. And one of the main places that it is synthesized is in the gut, a common byproduct of the fermentation of dietary fiber. Who would have thunk? Another interesting finding was that after the fasting protocol, researchers noted a significant increase in Christianella, which is a family of longevity-relevant gut bugs that have been previously associated with the gut microbial makeup of centenarians, or the longest-lived among us. And I know that you remember from this powwow that centenarians don't live longer because they have some sort of special power that allows them to survive longer with disease. They live longer because they have some special power that allows them to delay disease onset. Pretty interesting stuff, right? What about the protocol's impact on some of our favorite known longevity genes? Well, some things happened here too. Compared to the control, the fasting group saw some significant differences. Their blood levels of FOXO1, SIRT1, SIRT3, and specific microRNA genes were upregulated, whereas other potentially harmful microRNA gene levels reduced. So why does any of this matter? Well, as I brought up before, sirtuins are signaling proteins that are involved in metabolic function and cellular health. They are key for things such as DNA repair, cell survival, and stress resistance. And research suggests that an upregulation of SIRT1 is associated with longevity, promoting mitochondrial biogenesis and function. And its close cousin SIRT3 regulates mitochondrial metabolism and homeostasis. And then we have the family of fork head FOXO proteins, otherwise called the FOXO family. And one prominent one in particular, FOXO1, has been shown to stimulate the expression of many genes associated with autophagy, which is our in-house cellular recycling program, which is essentially mandatory for, life, and has been widely associated with disease prevention and overall healthy cellular function. The fasting group saw an upregulation of FOXO1, as well as a shift up in a few key microRNA genes that are believed to play a big role in multiple metabolic regulatory processes. They also noticed a shift down in a few that have been associated with mitochondrial dysfunction. Speaking of those chemical powerhouses that sit inside each and every one of our cells, what happened to them? Well, along with those mitochondrial boosting longevity genes being upregulated, researchers found that mitochondrial DNA content in the blood, a measurement that has been associated with cellular protective activity, was significantly higher in the fasting group when compared to the controls. And there was also a positive trend between stool butyrate and mitochondrial DNA content in the fasting group. Definitely a lot going on in a very short amount of time. And since it's like a fake fasting protocol, is it fake time? Is that just a whole all right, drop it. Put down the calculators, production team. All in all, this small study was another brick on the longevity wall, strengthening the story of how a strategic fasting protocol is one of the best and easiest longevity tools we all have in the toolbox. And evidence like this is the very reason I continue to follow and experiment with my own strategies and document them here on the Tube of You to share the experience. As always, it is very important to keep in mind that we are all at a different cellular and metabolic point in our lives, all balancing a different series of pre-existing circumstances. So always loop in your medical professional and discuss your specific scenario before you dive into anything. You guys know me. I am super pumped for all of the future research to come on this topic, stepping us a little bit closer each and every day to operating these pretty cool meat suits in the most efficient and optimal way possible. Let me know what questions, comments, any random thoughts you have down in the comments below. And also drop what fasting protocol you are currently following down in the comments below. Always interested to see what you guys are doing. All right, that's a wrap. Good show, production team. Hey, I hear they have some fruit juice and soup at the after party. I know, how'd they know? Wait a sec.